Good evening, folks. Reloading Bench back with you once again. We got a box. We got mail call, and we know it's battery operated. So I seem to do, I don't want to call it a review, a first look, an unboxing, a keep, a send back, a whole bunch of things on this particular type of product. And I found this one most recently, Daily Deals, which is where I find a lot of stuff. And it was from our friends at CVLife, Country Values for Life. Kind of reminds me of LG, which back in the day, in the 80s, when I lived overseas, was actually Lucky Gold Star. And they got rid of the corniness of Lucky Gold Star and went to LG. And CVLife is Country Values for Life. And they've been around 20 years. Didn't know that. Made in China. And what this item is sealed. What this item is yet another green laser mounting stuffage, charging, and what I like, and again, going back to the fact that I keep showing these every few months. One is because I remember years ago, and I'm talking 10, 15 years ago, when I would go to an LGS, and that was back in the day when green laser, red was the standard red laser, green was like woo, and it was big money. And one of the few names back in the day that I remember was Veridian, and I think they're still around. And we're talking hundreds of dollars for something like not as nice as this. This is a torch, a light, not a laser, but you get the idea. So I'm doing every few months some type of review on something like this, and I will not pay hundreds of dollars for any type of laser ever again. And what's changed most recently, and by most recently maybe the last year, especially like with the Olight. The Olight had, its little magnetic adapter, so you don't have to take the light off. You just charge it by putting the magnetic adapter on. Well, a couple of other companies have copied, but it's not the same magnetic charger. So now you have all these different proprietary cables to charge your light or your accessory, whatever your accessory is. And let's see, is it charged? Yes, it is. So what I like is everyone's moved over to USB-C. Makes it universal. So now, you don't have to have your special cable, because the cable that will charge most of your devices is now the cable that will charge this particular device. And what drew me to this particular device, one Allen wrench for the mounting, as well as the third screw if necessary, and then one Allen wrench for the up, down, left, right wind engine elevation adjustment. What drew me to this, well, two things. One, first, the price. It was, and I think I'll show it up here, I think $17. And it's returnable. So if I open it and I'm like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, it's too big, it's too tall, it's too whatever. I like the fact that, you have the double Picatinny. So if you mount this on Picatinny, you don't lose your Picatinny, depending on what you're trying to do. I also like the fact that it's not, these interesting, this happens to be a button, so I can't say it's not a button, because that is a button, but it's not the levers, the SureLight light, you're flicking, pushing, flicking, whatever. Really simple. You hit the button and you turn it on, you turn it off. Speaking of turning it on, turning it off, let's see. It tracks nice. It's got a nice bright light. Let me turn around, and I like green. I'm a fan of green over red. So if I were to buy a new device like an EOTech, an ACOG, anything I would buy that would have laser would be green over red. Green is easier to see in the daylight. There was a time where green was more expensive. Like I said, this is like $17. So, you know, I applaud people like CVLife that are making things affordable. You know, this reminds me of Lee Precision Reloading. There's a lot of people that couldn't afford, you know, the $300 Viridian and, you know, $18 CVLife. Who can't afford an $18 laser? And I'm sure there's going to be somebody who's going to say, I wouldn't trust my life to that. You know, all you wannabe operators out there that don't like the Temu copies of whatever, you know, hey, get over it. It's better than nothing. And, you know, you don't have to be an operator to take advantage and like and or use a device like this. And I thought because it was so svelte, meaning, you know, low profile, that sits pretty, you know, and mounted on the side where it's out of the way, but yet, you know, you still have access to its functionality. So this will make it onto some platform, one of my platforms. Don't know which one yet, but it's definitely going to make it onto it. I like the size, I like the price, I like the green, I like the button, and you know, I don't know that the LR needed to be in bright white. Up down needed to be in bright white. Maybe a little rubbing alcohol and that'll come off. And I'm going to take my glasses off to read what that says. Wavelength 515 nanometer. I guess that's what NM is, plus or minus 10 nanometer. If NM is nanometer, and I don't even know what that actually is, so I'm totally guessing. Let me take a quick browse to see if there's anything unusual in terms of operating. That's number 3, so where's number 1? Loosen screw, put it on, tighten screw, charging. Oh, looks like it has a, I didn't even notice that. There's a little dot there, so red light, green light for when it's charging. The 0 adjustment, again, elevation and windage, and that's kind of it. So I'm, you know, initial impressions. And again, somebody's going to bitch about, did you take it out and try it in 0? Does it hold 0? No, because this is the unboxing and first look at the CVLife. What are we calling this? The CVLife APH00011101. Lots of zeros, lots of ones. So we're going to call this, what is the official name? Yeah, there is no official name. So I'm just going to call this the Picatinny Green Laser. It's a class 3 laser. Charging time 80 minutes. It does come in green and red. I picked up the green, and again, I think, and I'll show the price. I think it was like, I'll show the standard price and then the daily deals price. But hard to pass up on something that, you know, could add value and help you out in a pinch when it only costs, I think it was 17 or 18 bucks. So that's a win, and that is it for tonight. Take care, folks.